Greetings, everyone. It's Jim Caldwell here again with the Marketing Director and Public Relations Manager for KEDC, Kentucky Educational Development Corporation. You see why we say KEDC, right? Today, we are talking more about AI and our AI Summit that's upcoming for July 21st and 22nd. We'll have a bunch of wonderful vendors, and we're going to have tremendous presenters as well, because we're navigating in a world that a lot of us don't know that much about, including me. But one of those people that actually knows a little more than me, we've got Dr. Jill Abney with us right now from the University of Kentucky. And first of all, Dr. Abney, thank you for being here.
Hi, Jim. Happy to be here.
And it's a tricky world that we live in now, isn't it? With the explosion of AI technology over the past couple of years, I imagine it's even been difficult for you to try to keep up with some of the ethical standards with it too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. At the university level, especially where I work, it can be a real challenge in helping students prioritize learning, but also stay conversant with the technology so they can enter the world, the working world, in a way that is knowledgeable about that field.
I mean, we have to be. We have to accept it because it's here now, right?
Yeah, it is here, and it is. We've sort of moved beyond this moment. 4 years ago when ChatGPT first entered the scene, generative AI was a conversation about should I use it? Can I use it? But we've moved beyond the sort of ban or allow binary to, I think what we need is sort of a flexible framework where students can be guided into exploration of the tools in a way that helps them build confidence in their own abilities, but also in building understanding of what these tools actually do.
So you will be at our AI summit coming up here on July 21st,
Mhm.
22nd. During that time, um, what when people come to your session, what do you hope that they walk away with? Because you're going to be talking a lot more in depth about some of this, but just kind of scratch the surface on what your presentation is going to be
Yeah.
like.
So I'll be sharing something that I call the Student Generative AI Use Scale, which is a tool that we developed for the University of Kentucky, but a number of other universities and other places have been interested in the tool. It's something that helps um, bridge the teacher-student communication gap when it comes to determining what's appropriate use of AI in what particular contexts. And so this is a tool that can be used to help students think about what is appropriate, what am I trying to learn here, where is the learning taking place, and am I using AI to skip the learning process, or am I using AI to enhance the learning process? And so that's the tool that people will walk away with. I'll give some strategies for how to use it, and then also talk about ways that we can sort of pull students into co-creation of a community around expectations around AI. I think building of trust, building of conversation can be really important in that way.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, because here's the thing, Dr. Amney, everybody, not just educators, everybody has questions about this, and
Yes.
everybody
Yeah.
has strong opinions,
Yes.
whether they know a lot about it or not, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I get asked to speak to lots of different groups, whether it's groups of Kentucky retirees or hospitality workers. Like, there's lots of different folks trying to reckon with what does generative AI mean for our particular fields, and so this is sort of, it zooms out a little bit so we can think about the larger impacts and places where it can be helpful too.
And people that are going to be in attendance here at the AI Summit, I mean, I think they're going to find all this information that you'll have presented there and available. Uh, it's going to help them, right? I mean, it's going to lead them a little bit more because, again, we're all just kind of wandering around out there. But this kind of would set up more of a direct guideline, so to speak, to kind of help them.
Yeah. One of the things that I talk about with teachers, especially, is it can feel overwhelming, this moment of generative AI, where we feel like there's so much we have to know. We're already so behind. And one thing I tell teachers often is no one knows everything there is to know about generative AI. And if someone tells you they do, they're probably trying to sell you something. So that's my first point. The second point is often to just take a step back and, wherever you are, whether you've not engaged with AI at all, or you're really on the cutting edge, like, you want to just try to keep your finger on the pulse of the changes that are happening, but not feel the pressure to know every single thing, because there's not that. And by knowing things about how generative AI works, and the ways that these things function, you can also use your sort of expertise in your particular field. For teachers, it would be their content discipline, to sort of make sense of, okay, well, when is this appropriate to use, when is it not appropriate to use? And so it can have a calming effect to kind of say, oh, here's some strategies about what can I use this for, when can I use it, when is it okay, when is it not.
So let's talk about you personally here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, Chat GPT really jumped out with the generative AI. Was it just 4 years ago?
November 2022.
See, I feel like I've had it forever now. That's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
But for you, it's a changing thing every day for you,
Every day,
because
yeah.
you're trying to educate educators and beyond and keep people up to date on it. So how quickly, when this started happening, how quickly did you realize, oh, we've got to adapt here at our level too?
Yeah, so I work with a great team at the Center for the Enhancement of Learning and Teaching at the University of Kentucky. And as soon as AI emerged, at least it had been around a long while, but it emerged to sort of lay people like myself and my team as an impactor on higher education and education in general in the time when ChatGPT was released. And we recognize that as a new challenge and opportunity for learning environments. And so we sought to inform ourselves of how it's working, what it means. And so keeping up with updates, legal challenges, changes, ethical concerns, environmental concerns, all of these are valid questions about AI. Intellectual property, I could list the ethical concerns all day long, but looking for ways to support teachers is what fuels our research kind of on a daily basis to see what's going on.
It's tricky. You're right, because I use it every day, and I've told many of the people I've interviewed, I use it every day for something, for one thing or another. I use it. Sometimes it's as simple as, it's replaced my Google search, or I used it one day. I used generative AI to help me write code for a map that I wanted. I wanted to be able to color a map. I know that sounds silly, but I needed to color it a specific way. I came from TV, and I was trying to make a snow map. Okay. I was trying to make and I could not do it the way I wanted it. I couldn't get the layers to show up the way I wanted them. Well, this, it was Chat GPT, and it's not the best code writer. There are others that are even better, but it wrote a code, and I made a map, and I could color it, and I could have counties highlighted. So,
Yeah.
it's one extreme to the other for, for
Mhm.
me on a personal level. But then you do start to wonder, okay, have I gone too far? Have I
Mhm.
invaded somebody's space? See, I mean, so it gets really, really tricky. But that's what you're here to try to advise a lot of us on. Do you live by any standards on that? Do you live by, if it feels wrong, ask?
Yeah, well, I think there are sort of our actions are driven by values, and I think learning how AI works and learning about the resources that it uses can help you make some decisions there. Currently, there's a lot of conversation about the environmental impacts, and I'm certainly not an AI apologist, and I certainly do have concerns about those. But I also think that there's some conversation and some data points that get sort of overblown, like this idea that one bottle of fresh water is used up every time you put a prompt in. I think it's a little less cut and dry, and there's a lot of research emerging that the sort of folks who are putting in, like, I have a cabbage and an onion, what can I make for dinner, are not contributing greatly to the warming of the earth in ways that when we stream TikTok for 3 hours, or we watch Netflix all day, or we drive our gas, burning automobiles. Those are clearly more impactful. Now, if you start looking at the training of these models, or the building of data centers, like, those have other impacts. But those are things to think about. I do try to, for myself, I mean, I use AI in some ways. I don't use it much to do my writing, because I think I'm a better writer than AI. But people who maybe don't feel as comfortable with writing, they might find it to be a helpful tool. I also don't use it so much for creativity, but I do use it to sort of for organizational purposes, or if there's something tedious about, like, I'm I'm blending groups of people and I want them to meet different people in their groups. Like I'll use that to help me assign those, or something that helps me enhance the learning opportunities of students that I'm teaching. Those are the places where I tend to use it. But I also admit it. I also am very open about when I use it, because I think that's a key to sort of an ethical AI world, is indicating when you are using it and making sure people know.
So let's kind of, let's go down this whole rabbit hole for just a second.
I gave you a lot of rabbit holes just there.
So I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great. But, let's talk about, for example, I'll get on social media. I'll get on Facebook. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
And Snoop Dogg he's been putting up videos for months now of him, wrestling an alligator or whatever the case may be. When and what, or, because it looks, I know it's not real, but it looks real to somebody else. They're going to say, wow, look at what Snoop Dogg's doing, or look what the president said. There's all kinds of things. What are we going to do in order to kind of maintain or law that?
Yeah. So if you're talking about sort of deep fakes, or the possibility of AI generated media like images and videos, that has improved vastly in the last, I would say, 6 to 8 months. And like when I make personal decisions about when I use AI, I ask, what am I accomplishing here? And what are my goals? So the image generation, media generation of AI does use more resources than the text-based. But I also think about, like, what are the impacts to the broader society? And folks have to make those decisions for themselves, but there's not a clear answer right now about what we do about those, deep fakes, and understanding that what we're looking at may or may not be real. I'm sure people have been inundated with the ring cam videos of animals, being wild on people's porches. Like, a lot of those are AI generated. And so it has facilitated a sort of doubtfulness in my mind, and I'm sure a lot of others. Like, when I see something outrageous, I immediately say, oh, that's probably fake, instead of automatically believing it. So I think we're circling around this moment where society has to determine, like, how are we going to approach this? Now, there will always be bad actors and people choosing to use these things in bad ways, and I think that's where government regulation and kind of sort of taking a look at what's happening and who's using it has to come into play. But for us as individuals, sort of making active decisions about what am I accomplishing and what are my goals and who's impacted are some important rules. And
you're right on the government legislation. Sometimes it feels like they're overwhelmed there, and they don't really talk about it much. And we need that discussion happening, Dr. Abney.
Right. And this is a long journey. And so currently there's not a ton of regulation here in the United States. That may change over time. But that's something to keep an eye out, is how our legal cases against AI playing out. All these sorts of things will continue to evolve.
You're absolutely right. And it's interesting every single day. Because there's always
something new every day.
Yeah, right. I mean, there really is. Somebody told me, and you can probably back this up, the AI you used this morning is already, I don't want to use the word dumber, but we'll say not as efficient or effective as the AI you used at, we're recording this at 12:58 in the day. Is that true?
I think it varies sometimes. I mean, yes, in sort of the broad sense, generative AI models are getting better over time, but there is some sort of dumbification too. Like, if you do one thing with a thing that you really like, and then you notice a couple weeks later that it actually is not behaving like you wanted it to before, it's because generative AI is predictive, and at least the current models are predictive in nature. And so there's a very basic level of explaining it, but it's spitting out the next best word that that answers your prompt, right? And so depending on the training data that's in there, depending on the prompt that you use, depending on the changes to the model on the back end that the companies either do or don't tell you, you might get something different. And so, yes, 4 years ago, we had a less effective models than we do now. Yet, I mean, they're not always better at every single task, so it varies.
Interesting. I mean, that's, again, all these things that we need to think about and tackle over time. But again, she will be at the AI Summit, correct?
Yep. I will be at the AI Summit and looking forward to it.
Do you enjoy speaking to people about these things?
Well, I'm a British historian by training, and so I didn't know that I would be speaking as much about AI as I do, but it is my lot in life. So this is what we're doing.
It is what we're doing. You're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
never thought I'd be talking to people about AI on in like a podcast form either. So
Right, exactly. Yeah,
so
and
here
I'm
we
happy
are.
to have great conversations with people at the summit. So looking forward to that.
Excellent. And I'm sure even you yourself, you're going to wander around, look at some of the odds and ends that they're going to have there, because there's
Absolutely.
going to be
Yeah.
so much technology available in so many other ways that not only these educators can learn, but you yourself, because we have to learn every single day with it.
Yeah.
So
And there's always something to learn from somebody else. As I said, nobody knows everything there is to know about AI. So
I had an interview.
be suspicious of those people who are suggesting that they do.
Yeah, right. Because I'm sure there'll be a bunch of them. I mean, they're all the time. But
Yeah.
at least social media, where a lot of people get their news now and they get their information, it's starting to label things AI generated because there's something in the
Yes.
code, correct? That
Yes.
shows that it's AI.
Yeah, there are companies that are actually doing that more and more even. So that is another way you can make a conscious choice of being like upfront and transparent about your AI use is using something that watermarks an image or a video in a way that says this content is AI generated versus trying to present something as something you made, but it's not. Like, let's be honest, we get to make the choice as a society. We get to have agency about how we choose to use this and how we present it. And I think that'll be an important step for us.
I used a few weeks ago. I did a special interview with an educator about she got a scholarship through our organization, and she was a victim of the 2022 flood that happened in Eastern Kentucky. And I had a picture. Because I said, "Do you have any pictures of your house or whatever?" And she said, "I've got like 2 or 3 pictures. We just didn't think to take them." And of course you don't in that time. So I took that picture and I just wanted the water to move. And I took it to AI, labeled it as AI, and had the water flowing. That was all. No, it didn't make it look more extreme. It just showed the water was moving. And I thought, I think this is okay. And it had the little AI mark at the top. So I was like, I think this is okay. And it again, it didn't make the story worse. It just showed water moving. So I mean, again, we have to make the choice, like you just said.
Yeah,
We have to
yeah.
make
And
the choice.
you as your role in media and your experience there, like you get to kind of consider those, weigh those options and figure out like what, and make the best choice. And that's not to say that choosing AI is always wrong. That's not my point. My point is we have to rely on our knowledge, our values, and kind of proceed from what we know.
Right. You're absolutely right. Dr. Jill Abney will be at our second annual AI Summit, Hyatt Regency, downtown Lexington. I appreciate you and can't wait to meet you in person. Thank
Yeah,
you.
looking forward to it. Thanks. Good to talk to you, Jim.
You too. So we'll have her. We'll have a lot of other folks that will be moving in and out of the whole thing, y'all. We'll have our AI bus there. We're going to have our immersive experience. We've got a dome that you can come and actually look at. And when I say dome, think of a planetarium. If you've never been to a planetarium, it's like a mini planetarium. And let me tell you, you'll get the full effect of it too, just like you do in a planetarium. Just so many great things to come and check out at our AI Summit. And with that, I will say once again, goodbye and have a great rest of whatever day you're watching this.